you have it, it's not a big deal. But the thing that sucks is that when they're at their cutest, you're talking like pure uncut cuteness here. You know, like 2 years old, they have to have this helmet. And you're just like, oh, and I can show you guys that. I'm going to show the front row a picture of what this kid looked like with the helmet. He was not unhappy at all. That's pretty cute right there. There you go. I'm trying to work a deal out to sell some pictures of him in the gift shop. We'll see if it works. But anyways, but during COVID, you know, I always keep a lot of things in my studio. The way in which my practice is, I work on several different pieces at once. And so I keep everything. You know, my wife always jokes. It's just like, you can't throw anything away because it has to go through the studio. And I was like, that's right. And so, you know, I had this helmet, and I was just so frustrated during COVID, when it first started, that we had to wear the mask, we had to stay away from each other. And so I couldn't take my son down to the park. That we've always gone down to the park, ever since he was a little boy, and go and swing on Saturday. And we couldn't do that. And then we had to have these masks on, that we couldn't see each other smile. We couldn't see the facial expressions. We couldn't do it. And so that frustration, it was just like, I had this helmet just kind of sitting there the whole time. And I was just like, you know, it was the same frustration that I felt when he had that on. And so, you know, this is my expression of just kind of frustration with the whole thing with COVID and all the little moments that you have, you know, in childhood. He's now 5, and all those little things that you have that, you know, Sharon and I were talking before, like the little times that, you know, when they start doing things on their own, you're like, you know, it's the moment where it changes, right? And so that's where the title comes from, all the little moments. A lot of the material, the stuff that's founded, are the stuff that I found, you know, the wood block, etc. You know, and just wanted to kind of create this little thing of a park scene, because it was something that, you know, we weren't able to do anymore. And so,
is this a pretty good representation of your practice?
I would say my practice is very varied, and so I work in a lot of series, and so, you know, you might see connections between the series, but, you know, that's kind of how it works. And so I'll do like, you know, 20 or so within a series, and then it goes on to maybe another investigation. But this is definitely something that has roots in things that I've done before, of being more sculptural. And I really had to add this, and then, you know, Sharon, I'm going to tell the story about this little figure right here. So, this little figure, this piece was sold to a collector. He was coming by the house. He's very excited about it. My son, he looked at me and said, Daddy, you know, he's in the studio. He loves to be in the studio. He's like, Daddy, I did something. I'm like, what'd you do? I'm like, what'd you do? He's like, I'm not going to tell you. And he had taken this off and ripped it off and like hidden it somewhere. And this is something that you can buy, but you have to buy it on eBay, and it takes 2 weeks to get. And so I found it, and I luckily was able to glue it on. The collector was happy. It's like this thing. So 2 weeks later, the collector calls me. Hey, my cleaning lady knocked off the little person. Can you replace it? You know, and I'm like, okay, yeah, not a problem. So eBay again. Before all this had happened, it had been in a show at a gallery down in South Congress, and the gallery owner's cat had knocked it off. So this figure has been knocked off 3 times, replaced 3 times. So it's one of those things of just kind of, you know, just, you know, when you have a piece and it goes out in the world, just things that happen to it, you know, and it's just kind of funny. It will most likely be knocked off before. I know the model number, this and that.
Just start ordering bulk.
Yeah, there you go. Order bulk. There you go. But yeah, you know, I really like kind of how it outsets it. You know, like, you know, me and my son kind of looking out for the world together. You know, I don't know how many of you have kids, but it's one of those things that, you know, yeah. And so that's the piece.